We've got you covered all season long. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right, here it is. It is season 3, episode 25 of the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go, sports bar. Brandon Carnes here with Justin Feldkamp and Dion Thompson. Playoff extravaganza ready to roll today on the pod. But first, big news dropped on Friday. First team all BCSN top 10 list presented by 𝗦𝗽ście. Give me the boys list first. Here we go. You guys talked about it on Friday. We're not done talking about it. Top 10 boys list. We got Alan Horton, Antoine West, Blake Robinson, Isaiah Mack Russell, Carter Kester, 𝗦𝗽ście 𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗁, Manny Johnson, 𝗦𝗫ce 𝗶𝗶𝗵𝗵, Sean Foster, and Walter Plants from Genoa. The list, gentlemen, is extensive and full of talent.
Yeah, 5 different leagues are represented on that, and a lot of D1 college level talent and a lot of non-seniors on this list. So a number of these players may be seen on this list again next season, but tons of explosive athleticism beyond on that list.
Listen, we talked about this, you and I were texting it. We were on point with the league. If you take a look at a lot of the player of the years, a lot of the guys that were first team, all league, first team, all district, we were right on point.
Yeah.
So it goes to show the way we're doing this must have a little bit of accuracy at least. So now they can't just be texting us and sending us emails.
Yeah.
Because like you said, Justin, people think it's just us up here. No, we send this all the way out so everybody kind of puts their players in, and we just tally it up from there. So we were accurate on this.
100%. The players of the year within the district: 𝗦𝗽ście 𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗁, Alan Horton, Isaiah Mack Russell, Caden Hutton from 𝗦𝗫ście, Walter Plants for Genoa, Carter Kester from TC, and Jack Leppelmeyer from Pettisville. So a number of the district player of the years voted on by the coaches were on our list. So Dion, Rhett, myself, our Sports Nightly anchors and reporters, coaches across the area, we receive their feedback, our play-by-play announcers, our other color analysts throughout the entire season who see these players with their own eyeballs help play a factor in the voting process.
We'll see more 𝗦𝗫ce 𝗶𝗶𝗵𝗁 later in the show, don't you worry. And we're also going to give a shout-out to Antoine West, became Whitmer's all-time leading scorer, passing Floyd Campbell last week in their game against Start. We'll see the girls list now, Cisco. Here we are. We got Brooke Bender, Elise Bender, Davani Harris came onto the scene like a wildfire this season for Findlay. Ellie Everts, we know Dion loves Ellie. Grace Carl out at Northview, Jade Latson, Kalasia Harris, Lucy Porter, Nina Sims, and Victoria Gray north of the border. Stacked top 10. I'll take this 10 in any tournament in the state.
Ditto for the boys. I mean, you know, a lot of these players that we mentioned, you know, were voted top players in their league in their own right. So once again, some good basketball being played around Northwest Ohio.
Absolutely.
A lot of good young. Hey, and a lot of these teams are still playing right now, so you can still catch them if you haven't caught them already.
100%. And on this girls list, we got 6 different leagues represented: NLL, SBC, City League, NBC, Catholic League, and the SEC Red. Victoria Gray has been phenomenal for Bedford. I think they're nearing 20 wins as they approach the postseason. The Kickin' Mules do, but we saw Elise Bender. We'll get to her in just a second, surpassing 2,000 career points. But just a lot of more D1 level athletes, not necessarily as many as the boys side just this year. Keeping in mind, last year we saw Destiny Robinson, D1 commit, Kendall Braden from TC, D1 commit. So it kind of goes in a little bit of cycles from the boys to the girls side. But I tell you what, the 20 names on these 2 lists, some top-level talent that will represent the 419 and beyond very well at the next level when they get to the next level.
All right, thanks again to 𝗦𝗽ście. We'll see the top 5 list coming out relatively soon. Keep your eyes peeled for that. We got plenty more coming up on the show. A playoff extravaganza, like I said, we'll get you caught up on last night's action, what to expect for the rest of the week, and so much more. Our clip of the week, and of course, our game of the week. Make sure you're here every single Wednesday for a brand new episode of the podcast, and get us anywhere you listen to your audio or at BCSN Sports so you don't miss anything from Wednesday to Wednesday. But we're going back to Tuesday. Division II girls basketball. Anthony Wayne taking on Twinsburg. The Lady Generals, dominant, as we have seen all season long. Dominant. Justin just mentioned it. Elise Bender, 2,000 career points she surpassed last night. 23 points, 9 boards. Her and Brooke absolutely dominant throughout the entire first half of that game, extending a lead. 58 points, though, is a low bar for Anthony Wayne. Oddly enough, they scored 90 points in the first 2 games of the playoffs. So 58, I guess Twinsburg did something right, or take your foot off the gas a little bit.
I think it's taking your foot
You
off
got a
the
game later
gas.
this week.
Definitely. Most
There you
definitely.
go.
I don't think Twinsburg did much of anything to challenge Anthony Wayne. I think it was a matter of, it was a running clock. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I think in halfway through the third quarter, so you're not going to get the accumulation of points just by that sheer fact. When a ball goes out of bounds, the clock's still running. So that eliminates time for you to score. But the Bender sisters continue to rack up the milestones, and they have a clear vision and mission ahead. And they are now 3 wins away from a state title. Yes, in the expanded level of the postseason from 4 divisions to 7 divisions at the OHSA. But Anthony Wayne going to take on Hudson Friday night at 7. Once again, back at Barberton. So, Dion, you talk about these long trips that at some point, every team is going to have to take a longer trip, whether that's in the districts, the regionals, or state. And they did not miss a beat. You say, okay, well, we were at school and then we got there and you're a little sluggish. They were not sluggish at all. They were ready to go from the get-go.
This team is built for that. Remember what happened last year. So they're comfortable with the travel. We just talked about Elise scoring that 2,000 point. And I liked her interview. What she said was, you know what, that's well and good, but I want the W. So, even watching her in her eyes, she wasn't too overly excited, too amped up, because they know what the goal is. Everybody's on the same mission. And like we said earlier, 58 points for them. They let a lot of people play because right now, hey, we got to get focused.
Yep,
get
got
yours.
another one on Friday.
Let me get some of
Stay
these
healthy.
other young ladies some minutes just in case we need them. But this is a solid team. I see them going far.
Yeah, and one more note, Anthony Wayne, they challenged themselves outside of Northwest Ohio because, let's be honest, there's the cream of the crop that they had at Anthony Wayne. They've been building this. At least, Benner, 2 girls who are going D1 into the Big East, they don't grow on trees. So when you have both of them on your team and some other high-level athletes on your team, you're going to beat teams within your area. So Jamie Carter, the head coach, challenged. They played Purcell Marion, defending state champs. They played Reynoldsburg and Olentangy from the Columbus area. They played Lawrence Central from the state of Indiana. So they went out and won some of those games, lost some of those games, but they did what they could within their 2021 game regular season to get prepared for February and now March.
But what's crazy? Leah Pike. We don't talk enough about her. If Leah Pike's on any other team, Division I level athlete, but on this team, volleyball at Ball State, she's a lot like she'd be Victoria Gray on any other team.
Yeah.
So we got to give her some credit as well.
Yeah. So the line does not end this season, but they are hoping it does come to a fruitful completion in Dayton. Like Justin said, they take on Hudson this Friday. But now we got to get to our Sean's Irish Tavern Player of the Week. Hit it, Cisco. Taking you back to Friday. Well, we're taking you back to Monday's poll results, if we're being honest. Coy Hamic out at St. John's, only 13 points. But my goodness, were 2 of them a thunderous exclamation point in the win over St. Ed's on Friday. St. John's had a crazy busy week last week, played 3 different games, played last night as well. They have been on a busy stretch over the last week. He had a 64-60 win was St. John's last week over St. Ed's in the Titan Dome. And Dion called it the dunk of the millennia, I believe, is what is not Dion. Sorry,
no, I didn't say that because
Mason. It was Mason. Somebody on BCSN said these words, and somebody else on BCSN talked next to me because I don't know words anymore.
Coy Hamic was spectacular. Baseline drive and slam. The defender got out of the way, didn't want any piece of Coy Hamic throwing it down with the right-hand slam.
Smart call.
But St. John's played really well in that game, beating a tough St. Edward team. And we talked about it on Friday night during Game Day Nation. Dion and Rhett and I were talking how it's a boost of confidence in what happened. I know you played against Findlay on a Tuesday night in the district semifinals, but
Don't
they
give away
just
too much.
blew away Findlay. So it was definitely a boost of confidence St. John's had in order to get prepared and ready. Okay, here's our launching off. Think about a plane taking off of the runway. All right, it's time to accelerate and take off.
Coming into the season, this is a team that's got progressively better. We talked about Race. We knew about him.
Yep.
But Coy came on, and I'm gonna tell you, we were getting him confused with Race sometimes. They're built very similar, but Coy has come into his own. He's fulfilled that role. And when you talk about St. John's as a team as a whole, To me, we were wondering who are going to be the complementary scorers, who's going to do this, who's going to do that.
Yeah.
They figured it out, and I'm telling you right now, this team's playing really well.
They've had a lot of improvement from a lot of different positions. Coy Hamic, one of those. Ethan James, Jaden Jones, guys that have increased their roles because of who graduated last season. We'll be right back, though, after 30 seconds from Buffalo Wild Wings. Cisco, do it.
Buffalo Wild Wings buy one, get one free boneless Thursdays saved me so much cash. I can finally do everything I've ever wanted in life, like skydiving. You ready? No, this was a mistake, a huge mistake. I want to go back. I want to go back. Go. Yeah, I'll probably just use the money I saved to get more buy one, get one free boneless wings at B-Dubs. No brainer. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
Skydiving may be a mistake. Tuning in to last night's district semifinal at Central Catholic, not a mistake. A great game between St. Francis and Northview. 45-39, the final. Raheem Brown stepped up because I think he needed to, because I believe last week he made a guarantee that they were going to beat Northview. He said, I don't know who we play in the second round. We got Northview first. We're going to beat them. And it was a close one. They were down in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter, and rallied back.
They were down by one, going into the fourth. So, they may have overlooked St. Francis or Northview, excuse me.
We said last week,
trying to prep
playoff Jeremy McDonald, man.
Very,
scary.
very good. Now you got to understand, Northview. They led every quarter. Now that score is a little bit misleading. They took it home at the end.
Yep.
Al Horton ends up fouling out. They took full advantage of that. But credit to St. Francis for hanging in there and getting the job done. But they got a scare last night.
Absolutely.
The Horton brothers are from the Northview district, opted to transfer from Northview to St. Francis. So this was a juicy battle behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Parents, community members, coaching staffs, both of these teams really, really, really wanted to win this game. It was 3:40 to go, and Northview had the lead. Yes, the lead into the fourth quarter, but with 3:40 to go in the game, they had the lead. And Raheem Brown came up with a little steal, little misplay by Northview.
Like he was on a football field.
He did. Remember when he chased down that guy and prevented the touchdown in the postseason? It was a very similar. It reminded me of that when I was calling the highlights last night. And for them to be able to finish, it's one thing to battle, but then to finish and then knock down your free throws. Dion loves his free throws late in the game. That was crucial. And now it sets up Battle Royale Part 3 between the Titans and the Knights.
It was a defensive battle in the first half. Neither team cracked 20 before halftime. The defenses were going back and forth. Nobody could get their offense rolling. Tyler Robinson was a force inside, but just wasn't getting things to fall for Northview in the first half.
Believe it or not, you need to win a game like this if you're going to have some success. You don't want to blow everybody out. You need to know that you can win the close games when it counts with a little adversity. Let's deal with it now. So now we know we can win these.
With Northview, tremendous building blocks were established and even lined with some mortar mix here this year because they had a really young team. They had young players who were relied upon to score and to contribute and be productive from December 1st on, essentially. So they missed some inside presence, but I think they went with some guard lineups consistently throughout the year. And it's times that gave them fits. They won some, they lost some, but a tremendous development for Northview and a lot to look forward to in the coming season.
Yeah, the 10-13 record, maybe not indicative of how well this team was playing at the end of the season. We talked on Game Day Nation about the stretch they had to end their season, but they were in every single one of those games. Lost to Southview on a game-ending block. Tight one with Anthony Wayne. They battled in with these teams, almost beat St. Francis in the playoffs. So this team became the best version of itself in the last probably 2 weeks of the season. And then for St. Francis now setting up third match. We got the rubber match with the rivals coming up this Saturday with St. John's.
That is going to be must-see TV, must be in attendance.
Yeah.
That's going to be a great game, But the thing is, the thing that concerns me about St. Francis is when Al Horton gets in foul trouble, they have to figure out a way.
Things get a little stagnant.
Yes, when he's not in that lineup, he takes he takes so much from St. Francis, but their guard play is stepping up really well. So I anticipate this to be another knockdown battle like the first two.
So we want to talk about St. John's, huh? We can talk about St. John's. We'll get our clip of the week brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Cisco, do the thing. The Kowalczyk name is not unfamiliar with highlights, we should say. Here we go. Jaden Jones, talked about him earlier. Off the backboard, race Kowalczyk, the finish. Whew. Did it.
I want you to watch 22. He was ready too. Look at Coy.
Coy was ready.
Coy was ready too.
He said, I don't care where it comes from. Somebody's getting it.
Somebody's getting the dunk
This
on
all
this.
starts with another guy we talked about, Ethan James. He
Yes.
gets the tip away, falls into Race's hands. And then these two, I've just been waiting for this moment because not a word was spoken. Jaden just kind of looks over his shoulder and is like, you got me? I got you. And look at I love that. Race Kowalczyk, he's normally such a fierce competitor. He's got this game face on all the time. He's hopping around excited. Oh, yeah.
That's nice.
I can't watch this enough. I can't tell you how many times I watched it, posting it last night, and then putting it together this morning. Woo.
Yeah, I like the team camaraderie there. I see the score 61-15 in the third quarter. So if you're thinking, they're showboating, you know what? It's high school sports. These kids need to have fun. They earned the ability to do this. Finley turned the ball over, okay? So it's one of those things. I get it.
Yep.
We're talking high school sports. I get it to a certain degree. But I also fall back on, hey, if you don't want it to happen to you, stop them. Don't turn the ball over or play better defense type of deal. Hustle back on defense a little more. Now Finley has got they had their struggles this year.
Yeah.
Okay, they had a new head coach.
Very
they
young
had
team.
An entire new starting five. So you're going to take your lumps. It's not going to be just cream of the crop every single year.
Don't feel bad for Finley. I heard they have an outstanding
You want to talk
7th
about
and
their
8th
youth
grade.
program? Go find Rhett. Rhett will tell you.
Yeah, Rhett told me this. He said, hey, don't feel bad for him. In a couple years, that's going to be them doing that to teams.
They're going to be a problem. Yeah. We're used to Coach Kowalczyk's name being associated with highlights, Race putting his name on the map all this season. But I can't get enough of it. I get rendered slightly speechless because this is some schoolyard, one basketball. The unspoken, Jaden Jones just gives him the look over the shoulder and is like, all right, we're doing this. I love it.
You know what and one is? I thought you might be too
The
young.
professor.
It reminds me.
I got you.
All right,
Hot
so
sauce?
This is we're going outside of Toledo here, but when I see an off the backboard dunk like this, so early in my broadcasting career, I was in Beckley, West Virginia, state championship at the Charleston Coliseum in the capital of West Virginia. O.J. Mayo and
Okay.
Patrick
Mayo.
Patterson, two future NBA guys, were in the state championship game and just blew the roof off the door with acrobatic dunks like that. Some of them solo, some of them teammates driven and helping each other with assists. But it was spectacular. And in a state championship setting, this is obviously not that,
elevated.
but just reminded me of that at the high school level. You don't see what you just saw right there that often.
The Titans get the 71-20 win. They advance, like we talked about, to take on St. Francis this weekend. You want more highlights just like that one? Maybe I'll get that one posted up on our socials today. For sure, head over to our TikTok at BCSN Sports. And now it's time for the final student section of the week of the winter season. And it's going to Central Catholic Irish Nation, bringing home the chain this week. They got the win over Fremont Ross last night. That sets up the matchup with, we'll talk about it a little bit later. You'll see who it's going to be. Bring everybody, anybody, all the people, all the themes, whatever the energy you need. It is the final student section of the week award for the season, and it's almost time for student section of the season. Shout out to Unison Health and the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board of Lucas County for all of that. And now we're getting into a preview. We got a game tonight, a big one on the girls' side. Ashland and Notre Dame going at it at Bluffton tonight, 8 p.m. on BCSN Plus in the D3 regional semi. Notre Dame, another team like Anthony Wayne that's been hot as of late, been playing their best basketball, and they're a tough out now that we are in playoff time.
Go ahead.
It's going to be a good competition. Ashland, I believe, has 20 wins already this
20 and
season.
5.
So no matter who or what you played against during the regular season, if you get 20 wins, you're doing something right at the high school level. So Notre Dame has had 3 losses to Gabriel Richard within the Catholic High School League.
Yeah.
Those are the only losses. Those 3 losses have all come since December 21st. But that's it. Those are the only 3 teams they've lost since that time.
Great
So
down in
basically,
Columbus.
yeah, they have challenged themselves similar to Anthony Wayne. Coming into this postseason, I had Anthony Wayne and Notre Dame as 2 teams that were tabbed to potentially go reach the regionals and possibly have a shot at getting to state. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Notre Dame has to focus on the task at hand because this is the first time they've been in the regionals since 2021. And the last time they did that, they were in Division I. Now they're in Division III. And in 2021, that was the 8th time in the past 10 years that they had reached the state level beyond the regionals. So a number of these girls that are on the team have no experience at all getting this far in the postseason. So that is what I'm going to be looking for in this game. Can the bright lights be okay? BCSN cameras will be there. But I like, Dion, how we've got some more complementary pieces beyond Nina Sims. We saw Brooklyn Armstead burst onto the scene this past weekend, 15 points versus Central Catholic. Her dad, if the last name sounds familiar, Lionel Armstead, the head coach for the Clay boys basketball team. Brooklyn is his daughter, so you know when you have that coach-daughter pedigree there, you're going to have the basketball IQ, and she is continuing to develop for Coach Travis Galloway.
You know, with Notre Dame, when I watch them, it's about defense.
Yeah.
They take you apart defensively, and
33.7 points per game, all they give up.
And they'll guard you 90 feet, you know, so you better be ready. And they don't really have a big presence per se on the interior, but they're all over the place. They're really quick. They get in those traps, they get in those passing lanes, and they're limiting teams to 33 points per game. Now you got to think about that. Think about that for a second. 33 points again.
That's only 4 a game more than Anthony Wayne was giving up all season. They were only giving up 29.
That's what. Is it possible that Notre Dame, even though they were good, they kind of flew under the radar a little bit?
Well, when you have, I think you have that all-state caliber. They're going to be in Dayton no matter what happens. Anthony Wayne team, the success can fly under the radar. But we talked about they went to Columbus just like Anthony Wayne did. They fared incredibly well, beat really good teams down there. They have proven all season the consistency. And like Justin said, Gabriel Richard, the only team in the area, really, if we go a little bit north, that has challenged them.
Yeah, Travis Galloway does a good job, too. So he's been around for a while. He's very experienced.
That's the other thing, right? You talked about they don't have the playoff experience. Travis Galloway does, though, right?
Yes.
He has sat in that chair and coached teams to the state level of competition. So he's got that thing to lean on and help those girls.
He has 6 seniors. Yes, I just mentioned that they don't have a ton of experience this deep in the postseason.
This level, yeah.
But still, they've played in tough games. They've lost some tough games. They've won some tough games. But they have 4 underclassmen who get some significant minutes out on the court from beginning to end. A couple of them are starters. So I think that will play a factor in not only the success for the next week or 2, but getting this playoff experience, because maybe at this point next year, we're not saying what we're saying where they don't have any experience because they haven't been this far since 2021. But yeah, I think coaching prowess, you talked about it in the men's and women's NCAA tournament, you tend to see the same coaches, maybe different names in the jerseys, but you are having the same coaches who have that consistent quality, tradition-rich programs where they might not go to the Final Four every year, but they're going to give their teams a chance to win, and I think that's what Travis Galloway does with Notre Dame.
All right, so they are taking on number 2 Ashland, who coming off an upset of Norwalk, who gave them their season opening loss. So Ashland riding a high as well. Again, catch that tonight on BCSN. They'll be at Bluffton, 8 o'clock on the BCSN Plus app. And now it is time for Game of the Week, brought to you by Dunn Chevy in Oregon. Cisco, you know what to do. All right, I had to get in early this morning to get this all together because these games were last night. Central Catholic, we talked about getting the win over Fremont Ross. Southview took on Rogers last night to earn their way to this district final matchup. And here we are, Central Catholic, Southview, the 1 seed, the 2 seed in the district. And for Central, it's a lot of the last couple of weeks been fighting the injury bug, right? They've had Carruthers miss some games. They've had Manny Johnson dinged up. But when they're healthy and when they're playing well, they are a formidable and scary team. Isaiah McRussell, 18 points in that win last night. And for Southview, it was the Brandon Ingram show against Rogers. 27 points, 6 triples. And that was another one that was really good at the half. And then Southview pulled away, especially in the third quarter, setting up a juicy final matchup.
Scary team, Southview. Central, hey, listen.
Yeah.
I watched them last night. Brandon Ingram is an outstanding player. Witcher, and Coach Springs does a good job. He's been around for a while, too. He has this uncanny ability to get his players to not only play hard, but they like him. Every team he's coached, from Owens.
Care about him. You want to play hard for him.
Yes, to wherever he's been, his guys love him. But Central Catholic, they're going to be ready. You know, Isaiah McRussell, we talk about him all the time. He's a great player. Kennard, Wardrop. The question is going to be, is Manny Johnson, you know, can he – I know he has a little issue going on with his, I believe, his heel. Okay. So they want to sit him out the last few games to say, hey, let's get you ready for this stretch. So if they're all together, I think it's going to be a good game. I really do.
Yeah, Manny Johnson, a guy that provides defense,
Yes.
which you need if you're facing Brandon Ingram, right? Justin, what you got?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he had 27 points last night. And looking at Southview's schedule, they are now 20-4.
Yep.
A few of their losses, Perrysburg and Whitmer, the top two teams in the Buckeye division within the NLL. And then two City League teams. They lost to Rogers 46-40, and then they lost to Start 75-58. So they avenged a loss from the regular season to Rogers. And quite honestly, of all the games last night, I was surprised at the final score in this one because
it was a 1-point game at the half.
Correct. And then they took it to him. You see Dennis Springs making any type of adjustments. But just for the fact that they lost by 6, to see it completely reversed and then some was a little surprising. But hats off to Dennis Springs. And the Southview team has a number of players. Jaron Witcher was just on the outside of our top 10 first team all BCSN voting. Yep. You got Will Mazies, who's kind of a been there, done that type of varsity player and increased his role.
Glue guy.
Yeah, he's increased his role each and every year for the Cougars. Damian Clay, Adam LaPlaw, Brandon Ingram, we already mentioned. So a number of guys that can contribute and, quite honestly, I think match the athleticism. In some cases, if you stack up top five for Central Catholic versus Southview, I think Central Catholic will have a little bit more athleticism. But in a game like this, where the district title is on the line,
neutral
and
setting,
Central Catholic hasn't had a ton of experience this deep into the postseason with their current roster.
Sure.
I think Southview, if they man up and if they bring the intensity level from the get-go, as opposed to saying, oh my gosh, we got Manny Johnson, Isaiah McRussell, 2 D1 guys, what are we going to do? If that's the mentality from the tip, it might not be in the favor of Southview. But I think this game has the chance to be competitive till the end.
This is where Central says, you know what? We've played so many tough teams. We've hung in there, and we're going to come ready for battle. They are definitely battle-tested.
Yeah.
Playing against that Detroit Catholic League, which we say it all the time, it's probably one of the toughest leagues probably in the country, if we're being honest, with all the good players that they have. So I'm excited for this game, and I know they are too.
That'll be 6 p.m. this Friday on the BCSN Plus app. Make sure you're there to check it out when the Irish and the Cougars match up. We got to wrap this thing up. We got 30 more seconds for Buffalo Wild Wings before we do it. Cisco, go.
I've saved so much money enjoying Buffalo Wild Wings BOGO half-off traditional wing Tuesdays. I can finally afford everything I've ever wanted in life. Wings. All I ever wanted was more wings. So yeah, buy one, get one half-off traditional wings is the perfect deal for me and my lifetime yearnings. I value it more than literally anything. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
All right, we've got the Midas bookends for the show today. Our games list presented by Midas. Here we go. We got Glass City Wranglers on Thursday night action. We already told you we've got Notre Dame tonight in playoff action, and then more Glass City Wranglers on Friday. And then the playoff action rolls right in. Southview, Central Catholic, and then Napoleon. Napoleon, a big upset last night, played a great game. They're taking on number 1 Otsego, who won very late as well. And then Hudson, Anthony Wayne on the girls' side. And then a TBD matchup as both Maumee Valley and Toledo Christian separately play tonight for a chance to move on to Friday.
Otsego almost slipped up. Bellevue they were up by 10 most of the game.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they came through, which is, I guess, why they're the number 1 seed.
Right.
But
again, another thing where we talked earlier, you got to win these games and prove, all right, we're okay.
That was close. But the game, let's be honest, we're watching that Southview Central Catholic. That is going to be the matchup we all want to see.
Dion, how many devices and eyeballs did you have on the screens on Tuesday
He's got
night?
them everywhere.
And when you guys are on, I got to watch.
You were locked in all over the place. I'm looking forward to a lot of those games. The Southview Central Catholic, which we broke down. FYI programming note, so Game Day Nation will be live on BCSN on Friday night. Everything's always live on the BCSN Plus app, but we will have that Southview Central Catholic game, Southview of the NLL. Southview versus Central Catholic will be live on the NLL network, powered by BCSN, Stream TV, channel 25 and 26.
Justin to let me know.
We are ready to rock, and we will have another look at our top 10 Game Day Nation. Dion and Rhett, will be on the desk, and we got plenty of action to get you through a Friday night.
Make sure you're there Friday, the final game day nation of hoops season. Justin will be there. Dion will be there. Our boy Rhett will be there. I'll see him later at the
You'll
UT
be there.
game. I'll be there too. How about them apples?
You better be.
I will be here again next week, 4 p.m. on BCSN or anywhere you get your audio mediums for a brand new episode of the BCSN Nation podcast. Follow at Justin Feldcap, at Thompson Jiu-Jitsu over on Instagram, and of course at BCN Sports, anywhere you get a social media platform. We'll be back next week for a new one. See ya.